That's a good question. I think people do talk about how it is definitely more difficult and more time consuming to make a PvP team, a full competitive PvP team in PokeMMO compared to current state Pokemon games. But compared to older, I think it's actually a lot faster due to hordes and stuff, right? Well, I'm actually really curious now. Now I want to crunch some numbers. So let's say that I think you can build a seriously competitive PvP team with each Pokemon costing around 100 to 150k Pokeyen. That's 2 times 31 plus nature plus 20 to 25 plus if you snipe some good deals. I think that's pretty reasonable. Let's go ahead and do 125k cost per Pokemon times 6. So 750k is going to be the total cost of the PvP team just for the Pokemon. That's not including items and stuff. I'll go super high end. Let's say it costs you 60k per item, because some items are gonna be super cheap like berries and focus ashes. Some are gonna be super expensive like choice scarf, you know, band, life orb, etc. So let's do 60k cost per item. We can do 60k times 6. It'd be a lot easier if I was better at math. Plus this plus the 750k plus some of the other tools you might need. I think you could definitely make a very, 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 like, this is for like an extremely good PvP team, for like 1.2 mil, you know, right? So let's go ahead and let's take this number and divide this by, this is not including EV training, XP training, and we'll do TMs. You know what? Let's include TMs, let's include EV training. Let's just round everything out to a solid 1.5 mil. Let's say that it takes 1.5 mil to make an incredible PvP team. This is a very good PvP team. You don't need this to jump into PvP. You can definitely make a really good PvP team for much less. I have many videos showing off budget PvP teams and challenges of the sort, but let's take this number. This is a very good structured PvP team. Let's go ahead and take this and let's divide this by, let's say 200,000 Pokeyen per hour, which is very good. Now this is not including EV training time, so I think around 7 hours, 7.5 hours to actually just get the Pokeyen to make the team. That's not bad. It's a fair bit of a grind. That's a fair bit of a grind. Now let's kind of go ahead and let's take that. Let's add in EV training. It takes 15 minutes to EV train a full stat, 252. So if you do 15 minutes, how many Pokemon? Let's just do an hour for EV training. So you don't know how many stats you're gonna have to do. You might have to do, let's do hour and a half maybe to make it an even 9 hours, right? And then for XP training, I would guess, this is a guesstimation, 2 to 3 hours with XP charms, which I think go into our cost. I think you could definitely, and that should be everything. Now, the other thing is planning. Planning is going to be honestly a huge part of the time process, but let's go ahead and guesstimate everything up 15 hours. I think 15 hours, I think you could easily make an extremely competitively viable PokeMMO PvP team in 15 hours. Now that is including the time it would take to make all the Pokeyen, which is a huge part of it. So keep that in mind. I think 15 hours to build a full, extremely competitive PvP team is pretty fair. Obviously it's a fair bit of time. It's not like Showdown. It's not like the new games where you can probably build a PvP Pokemon in around 30 minutes each. It's definitely tough, but I think that is super good. I think 15 hours is super fair. I think it's the perfect middle ground for an MMO where you do have to grind for things. You do have to grind for your teams and grind for items and have that satisfaction from building those teams. I like grinds being somewhat long, but you don't want them too long, especially in a grind like PvP. If PvP grinds are too long, you don't have enough people playing. You don't have enough. There's too much barrier to entry. You don't have enough people getting into it, which can be a huge issue. So I think the barrier to entry there is pretty balanced in my opinion at the moment, and it can be lower or higher depending on how much better you want your team to be.